Welcome to today's Homeowner with Danny Lipford. Expert advice on improving your home from the pages of today's Homeowner magazine and professional remodeler Danny Lipford.
Welcome to the show. You know, nowadays people are spending a lot of money on vehicles, and it just stands to reason that they would also make significant investments on garages like you see behind me. Now, we've been getting a lot of requests for 3-car garages, mainly because people want an extra space to park a boat or just for extra storage in general. Well, on this week's show, we'll take a look at some of the fundamentals of building a garage like this, including some great tips on how to keep your concrete slab from cracking, and also the problem of rain blowing under garage doors. We've been able to solve that. Talking about garage doors, we'll also give you some great tips on selecting a garage door, whether it's for a remodeling project or a new structure like this. We've got a lot to show you here on today's Homeowner. Now, this is the area that's the most important aspect of building on to any home, whether it's a garage or an addition, making sure that the roof pitch is the same and the overhang is the same as the existing house. Now, you can see we'll need to cut these original rafter tails off just a little bit to match up with our new ones. This will tie everything in perfectly once we install our fascia and our soffit. Also, our brickwork will be going up a little bit later. Another very important aspect is making sure that the floor level of the garage is the same as the house if possible. You never know when you have an attached garage like this one when you may convert it to living area. Now, with that in mind, we were able to match the level of this slab with the level of the existing house. That way, if they ever want to convert it, it'll be real easy to do. Also, prior to pouring the concrete, we treated it for termites and put a vapor barrier down. Now, for the garage door, we did something here that'll help a lot in keeping the rain from blowing under the door. We were able to recess this down, and when the garage doors are installed, they'll actually fall down to the lower level so that no way rain can get under it. Also, you know, with a slab of this size, many times you'll have a problem with expansion cracks. And we've had our concrete finisher provide us with some score joints in the slab so that if it does crack later, it'll crack in a controlled fashion in that actual score joint. Now, layout's very important in any garage, and providing good storage is important, and we have plenty of storage here with one room that'll actually be kind of a walk-through closet area to give access to the inside of the house, as well as this one that has a walk-through fashion to it, has a door going out of the rear so that you can have a good storage area for lawn mowers and other yard tools. This will work perfect for that type of access. Also has a door coming into the garage. Now, you may have noticed this is a large garage, and it's all completely wide open with no center support. We've been able to span this 22-foot area by using 2x8s on 16-inch centers. Now, this works perfect to be able to span this area, but it also puts a lot of extra weight on the outside walls. To beef that up a little bit, we upgraded from a 2x4 to a 2x6. This works great to provide that extra support that's needed. Plus, it only costs about $250 extra in materials to upgrade from the 2x4s to these 2x6s. Now, to tie that real well to the slab, we put in some J-bolts while we were pouring the concrete. It has a little hook on the end, comes up through, and we're able to screw them down with a washer, bolt them down actually, to the slab. This is all treated wood that we have on the lower side. Now, you know, architecturally, I'd mentioned earlier how important it is to really match the pitch and the overhang of the existing house with any addition that you tie to the house, such as this garage. We were also able to take that a step further by reusing some windows that we removed earlier in the remodeling project. Now, these windows were removed as part of a large renovation on the existing house, and they're in great shape because they were positioned under a covered porch. So all of the glazing's in good shape, no broken glass, and it works real well. The only thing we're really going to have to do to them, other than the obvious cleaning and painting, is to provide new brick molding around the perimeter of the window, because originally it was a double window. So you can imagine how large that was in the house with having a window this size next to it. But you know, this will add a good touch architecturally to blend in the new garage with the existing house, but also it'll give some great natural light into the garage itself. Also, it keeps the garage from looking like a garage when you drive up to the house. So it's a good way to add all of those features to the garage. Stay with us. Next, our simple solutions.
Get ready to review your fix-it list as Danny and home repair pro Alan Lyle show you this week's simple solution.
Now, if you have a wooden gate around your house, sooner or later you may experience some sagging problems with that gate. Well, Alan and I have a little method that can prevent that from happening. Tell us about your part of it, Alan.
Well, Danny, I'm glad you're here for one thing, because I need an extra pair of hands. But this is a kit you can pick up any hardware store, get the sag right out of that gate. It's very simple to install. Up here you see one bracket we've set on top on the hinge side. Down here on the latch side, another one, and the cable, nice wire cable running through it, and right at the end you'll see the cable clamp. This, Danny, is the one that's going to go on the other end. I've already threaded it through.
Okay.
Now, here's where I need your help, if you will. Hang on to that for me.
Okay.
Now, right here, I've got a turnbuckle. This is what we're actually going to attach to the top side. Maybe a little difficult to get in at first. Once we get it through, let's thread it.
Okay, all right.
Okay, you got that. I'm going to hold it tight if you'll bring
And
the
this
clamp
is just
back
like
up.
the other end then, and
That's
being
it.
able to secure that.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to get as much slack out of it as we can.
Okay, you got that?
Okay.
I'm going to take a socket ratchet here and tighten that up. There we go. All right, now that in itself is not going to take care of the problem. The turnbuckle will, though. We've got the cable on there running diagonally. We're going to take our crescent, our open end, and go ahead and turn the turnbuckle, and this will tighten it and start pull one corner in, which in itself will take care of the sag.
Perfect. Okay, great. And with a little bit of extra room that you'll have there in the adjustment, you'll be able to continue tightening it if you have any other problems later on. Also, this is a stainless steel cable, so there's no problem in it being out in the weather like this. This may be just the solution if you've got a gate that's causing you some problems. Well, this is really looking like a garage now, with the homeowners using a lot of this area as overflow storage. Actually, they just recently moved into their house and needed a little extra space to stage some of their boxes before they take them to the inside and unload them. Now, if you can anticipate some of your storage needs when you're building a garage, it's always a lot better to build the garage large enough, or in this case, have some adjacent areas for storage. We'll look at those in just a minute. Now, we've used a regular sheetrock or drywall for all of our interior walls. Many times garages are just left with bare studs, or they may use plywood for a little more of a durable wall. Here the homeowners wanted a good finished surface on the interior, so drywall was the perfect choice. But now, to help out on that, as far as any abuse that the drywall may take with doors opening up from the cars or the children's bicycles, it's a good idea to put a 1x6 like this about 2 or 3 feet off the floor, so that when the doors open up, they'll bump into this, or when the kids are pushing their bikes to the outside, it'll have something to protect the wall. Once this is installed and nailed off to the studs and painted, it looks pretty good and definitely protects the wall. Now, on these particular walls, if you'll remember, we used 2x6s on all the perimeter walls for a little extra strength, but it also gave us a little extra room to install insulation. Now, a lot of people wouldn't install insulation in a garage, but in case the homeowners decide to use this as a living area later on, they won't have to remove any of the walls to insulate it at that time. Also, it helps to moderate the temperatures to keep there from being such an extreme from hot or cold. We also insulated the attic, and we built a functional vented dormer on one side of the garage to try to exhaust all that hot air out of the attic. Now, you know, other people will use pegboard for the interior walls of the garage, and many times that's a good idea, but because of the changes in temperature can cause a lot of problems, especially in a high humidity situation with warpage in that pegboard. And we used a special vinyl coated pegboard in our storage areas. Now, this storage room that's adjacent to the garage is about 8 foot by 10 foot. The homeowners plan on using it for the storage of some of their lawn equipment, shovels, rakes, that kind of thing. So the pegboard that has been installed on the wall will be perfect for the storage of these items. Now, the vinyl coating that I mentioned not only is on the face of the pegboard, but also on the back side to really help prevent any moisture from getting into the pegboard. Also, on the outside walls, we've installed a layer of 6mm plastic directly to the studs to even help more to prevent that moisture from getting to the pegboard. Now, you know, there's just a ton of different types of devices that you can attach, different types of hooks and shelf brackets that you can use to really customize this type of storage. But if you're not fortunate enough to have an area like this, you can help your storage out in your existing garage by installing some different types of shelving. How you use the floor space in your garage is very important. You need plenty of room for your cars, your bicycles, as well as a good walking around room. Now, to accomplish some good storage area out here without encroaching into that space, it's good to build some shelving up overhead, especially if you have 9-foot ceilings like we have here. An easy way to do it is to just use a 12-inch or 16-inch board, get it on up here to your 7-foot level and support it from the wall, as well as bring out a 2x2 or 2x4 and anchor it to your ceiling joist up overhead. This will allow you adequate room to store boxes like this that are real popular, and you can label these real well so that when you have them positioned, you've got good visibility from the center of the garage and see everything that you have. Also, by getting this shelving up high like that, it saves all of this space for a workbench, maybe that second refrigerator that's so common in garages these days, and again, storage for those bicycles. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll take a look at the outside of this garage.
It's time to check out the Home Center for this week's best new product with Danny and today's Homeowner Magazine's editor-in-chief, Paul Spring.
Paul, out on the market, there are so many different cordless screwdrivers. What does a homeowner need to know when they're selecting one? And tell us about the Ryobi 6-volt.
I'd be glad to, Danny. This is a terrific value. This is a 6-volt drill, as you mentioned, which makes it fairly low on the power scale. But it's a terrific thing for interior work. You're not going to try and drive deck screws with it, high torque kinds of assignments like that. For those, you need a 12-volt, 14-volt, or even an 18-volt drill. But for all sorts of things like drapery hardware and the kind of repair and maintenance tasks you have around the house, this is a terrific value.
You know, there's a lot of small chores around your house, as there are around my house, and a 6-volt drill may be just the thing that you need. Now, really, the way it's designed, it's lightweight, it's real user-friendly.
It sure is. It's got a grip that's easy for almost any hand, but it also has the capability you need in a cordless drill driver like this. It has 24 slip clutch positions, even has a level on the top to make sure you're drilling absolutely level.
Okay, now what about all the other accessories that go along with it here? How much does this cost?
This is about $45, and you're getting 28 accessories. It includes the charger, the kind of drill bits that you'll use most frequently, screwdriver bits, and so on.
Well, there's a lot to know about cordless drills. Hope we've been able to give you some good tips on selecting your next one. Taking a look at one of the many safety devices that are standard equipment on most garage doors now. It's a motion sensor that will actually sense if there's an animal or a child or a car in the way of the garage door operation. Here to talk with us about that and a lot of other things you have to consider with selecting a garage door is Hallie Brown. Now, Hallie, that's a great innovation that they've implemented in most garage doors now. It's a good safety device.
Yeah, it sure is, Danny. It's a great federal regulation now that all the operators have the safety sensors on them. Not only for safety, protect your child or an animal or something, but it also protects the door or your car, because if it comes down on it, it's obviously going to damage either one of them. Also, another feature on this particular brand is if you go to bed at night and you forget to put your door down, a burglar or someone comes by that sees easy access to get in your garage, as soon as they break that beam, that safety sensor beam, the lights in your garage is going to come on, which is most of the time going to deter them.
Good. Now, of course, burglars and criminals are getting a lot smarter now, and I understand some are actually able to read the codes that you use on your garage door opener, and some technology is preventing that.
Yeah, this particular brand is what we call a Security Plus. Now, how that works is with the code grabbers, they actually wait for you to open your door, and they have their code grabber, and it actually picks up the frequency. On this particular brand, they cannot do that because it uses a different frequency every time you hit the remote. So the frequency that they have will not work again, ever.
Good. Well, that's a great little peace of mind to have there. Now, for years, all you could get is wooden garage doors, and there's problems, especially in climates like we're in here, where you get a lot of rain, they can really deteriorate quick, but things are different now.
Yeah, it is. The majority of the doors that we use now are the metal doors, and I tell you what, how about if I show you one?
Okay, great. Well, this is a little bit different than a lot of the metal garage doors I've seen, Hallie.
Yeah, Dan, this is actually a foam core door, which means it's insulated, so it just adds to the stability of the door also.
Okay, and I guess some support ridges here.
Right, it's built-in struts, and as you can see, the metal actually wraps around each strut, gives it more stability. So it's still a lightweight metal door, but it's insulated with extra strength.
And well, a lot of times when you use metal in construction products, it's for maintenance-free approach, and the actual factory finish goes right along with that.
It sure does. It's actually a baked-on enamel. It comes with a 15-year rust-proof warranty. It comes in several different colors. You have white, bronze, you have a taupe, and you can also get it in a cream. Or you can also, since it's a baked-on enamel, you could also paint over it any color you'd like.
Okay, great. Now, a lot of the doors you see have these big strap hinges, but these look a little different.
Yeah, this is what we call a quick install hinges. They serve two purposes. The first purpose is it's already on the door, so it's a lot easier to install, which cuts your install time in half. The other thing, it has a the quick install hinge has the pinch-proof design, which the pinch-proof design just keeps you from getting your fingers caught in the door to actually push them out instead of pinching them.
I see. Now I've done that, and that's not a fun thing to go through, is to have your fingers caught in there. So that's another great safety feature there. Now, of course, the height of this door, 8 foot instead of 7 foot. We're seeing more and more of that.
Yeah, Danny, you could get more and more all-terrain vehicles, people going to the all-terrain vehicles, which is higher, and they feel like they need more clearance. Also, you have your boats, your guff fishing boats, or anything that you have that gives you more room. Also, with the design of the house, if you have a big A-frame garage or something, cosmetically, the 8-foot door just works out nicer.
You know, a lot of times garages can tend to be real dark as well, and putting some of the glass panels in here really helps, and also helps on the design. I know you have the overlays of several different ways that you can make the door look.
Yeah, actually we do. We put the glass in, and the inserts, we can put several different type of inserts in, just depends on the homeowner what style they'd like. And it also, like you said, gives you light in the garage if you don't have any windows in your garage.
Okay. Something else a little different on this one, I noticed the pipe that you have at the top there. Normally that has a large high tension spring on it that can really be dangerous if someone messes with that or tries to adjust it. This one's different.
Yeah, Danny, this is actually called a torque master system. It works the same principle as the torsion bar in the spring. It's just a lot safer. The spring is actually contained inside the bar, which makes it a lot easier to turn and a lot safer to turn. And if anything down the road, 10 years down the road, if it ever breaks, it's contained. It cannot hurt anyone.
Good. Well, I know that's really important. And if you have one of the older fashioned type garage doors, you have the big spring up there, leave it alone. Leave that in the hands of a professional to adjust or to work on, because it can really be dangerous. Hallie, thanks a lot for talking about the garage doors, and as you can see, there's a lot to consider when you're selecting a garage door. Stay with us, and we'll be right back after this Around the Yard segment.
Now for a bit of news from the great outdoors as Danny takes a look around the yard.
When selecting bedding plants for your garden, look for the healthiest plants you can find at your garden center or nursery. Now here's some tips to guide you through the aisles of your garden center. Garden centers and nurseries carry the same type of plants in different sizes of containers. Now healthy plants in small containers, if they're not root bound, will suffer less transplant shock, they'll get growing faster than larger plants, and they cost a lot less. Now if you have a choice, buy plants before they're in full flower. They'll bloom for a long season in your garden. Also look for compact plants with good leaf color. Leaves should be perky and richly colored. Tall, spindly plants are likely stressed from crowding or insufficient light. If plants have a lot of roots growing out of the drainage holes of the container, well, they're probably root bound. Make sure you avoid them. Bedding plants can add that special touch and a lot of color to your garden if you make the right selection. Take your time and you'll get more value for your dollar in bedding plants. Well, I see a problem the landscapers will have to address with all of the dirt banked behind the garage. Could force some water into the building. I understand they'll be taking a lot of this dirt and grading it down to where it'll allow the water to flow this way. Now, I hope you enjoyed this week's show and seeing how the garage came together. And I hope you're enjoying our approach here on today's Homeowner of realistic projects that you can easily do at your house. We'll see you next week.